Bit of feedback on how it went for you guys this morning. Were you able to at least understand how to build your store, have a better understanding and vision for your own Shopify store and your own future? Yes? Good? Perfect, I love that. Yes, that is a tool that we're building every single day, always have improvements. And there are stuff that Andrew actually tested out yesterday that was kind of, well, just astonishing.
Okay. Whoa, all right.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Perfect. Any other feedback, comment? It will also allow us to better improve it.
Yeah, I see a lot of product out of stock.
Correct.
So do you plan to drop more product?
Yes, so that was a question that we had a lot today. So out of stock products, since we are onboarding a lot of new manufacturers constantly, what we ask them is essentially, hey, give us all your price lists, all the products that we actually have access to. We put it in the database. Then we place a stocking order for the manufacturer to already have like some rolling inventory. And then in the dashboard, the partner dashboard, the blue line or the Randmar assistant, you can ask it request stock. So then on our next purchase order, we will order this inventory to ensure you don't run out of stock. Once you get one cell, even if we don't have it on hand, it will place an order with the manufacturer. And after that, in the brand directory, you can see weeks of stocking. Essentially, we have an algorithm that will start ordering and placing inventory in all of our warehouses according to where your sales are going. Right? So if you're selling mostly in Calgary, we have a warehouse in Edmonton. Edmonton will start stocking the products you are selling there, and it's not going to be in Montreal and then take a 5-day to get all the way there. So we do have an algorithm that will position all the different SKUs. So what's important? Yes, when we have 0 SKU, that means Randmar, we don't have any real sales for that items. Therefore, we don't stock it. But as soon as you start building some history, then we start stocking it properly. Other questions? Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So now we're going to go into some presentations. So we have a couple of speakers that prepared some just slides for you guys to really better understand and leave today with more value than just having a Shopify store. It's actually an ecosystem. Working with manufacturers requires a certain understanding of the landscape, and that's what we will be presenting you guys today with. So, first step, I'll be presenting how to understand manufacturers. So, who has actually worked with manufacturers in the past or just sell branded products? Yeah. Of course, yes. Yes. 2, 3, perfect. So I'm sure you understand that it requires a certain way of speaking, of communicating and acting with those in order to be able to leverage the opportunities that they have for you. So I'll go a little bit over this, and then Andrew will take over, because we have an example here. So first step, what is a manufacturer? All right, essentially it is a company that produces goods. So they have access to the factory. They are able to produce inventory with essentially no limits. They have a strong brand already that will sell itself, right? So even for you, you are syncing branded products. So therefore, you don't, like, the people are already sold on the brand when they are actually going on your store, and you can also leverage their brand in order to propulse your own brand. All manufacturers in Canada, there's a law, it comes with a 1-year warranty. It's mandatory. Therefore, when you are promoting items from branded manufacturers, you actually don't have to bother about their warranty policies. It comes by default. So manufacturers, most of them already have a process in place, and Randmar, we also have a process to facilitate all this. So right there, you are able to increase the trust provided to your customers or future customers by saying, hey, 1-year warranty on all products, right, through your store. Most of them don't want to develop a distribution infrastructure in Canada, right? Because the ones that I'm showcasing, most of them are actually international companies. They don't want to do distributions. They rely on distributors like us who already have some form of grip on the market and, most importantly, relationship with resellers. Some of them will sell, they will have multiple channels essentially. So they will have a channel for direct to consumer. They will have a website that most likely is going to be an e-commerce, especially in 2026, or through other businesses such as wholesalers, distributors, retailers. Those are all distribution channels. So they will not do exclusively direct to consumers like most of their brands. They will valorize multiple distribution channels to ensure just because they are bigger, they cannot rely exclusively on one in order to survive. So next step, what are distribution channels? So essentially you have to see it as a path or a route through which goods and services travel from the manufacturer or producer all the way to the end user. So there are some bottles here, there are some tables, cameras, those things went from the factory all the way to here. But there are multiple ways to actually make that happen. One of them can be Amazon, one of them can be Walmart, one of them will be some of you guys. So those are all channels. And also a manufacturer, let's say for the Canadian territory, will normally not necessarily rely on one distribution partner. They will have on average between 2 to 5 different distributors, and those distributors will then have a wide range of resellers, and normally each manufacturer will have its own expertise, and the one that we are currently developing is really the online channel and the technological channel. That is the one we are focusing. We have a beautiful edge, we have some beautiful technology, and this is really where we see the growth for the future. So that is us. So a distribution channel will be also a bridge to a specific market. Let's say there were some questions on HP. If I take HP as an example and they want to start selling to the Canadian government, well, it requires a very specific path in order to get there. The manufacturer normally don't have access to this path, so they will start working with different resellers, so the channel will be a bridge all the way to this market that the manufacturer will want to target. All right, and normally a manufacturer that wants to target Canada, they will say, let's target all markets at the same time, or at least some of them. It's very rare that they will say, okay, let's target Canada and just have one channel which is going to be direct to consumer. Very rare. They love to work with distributors in general because it is a proven model. It has worked very well for hundreds of years now, especially in the physical realm, and it keeps evolving. So why are distribution channels important? So mostly efficiency, right? It streamlined the process of getting products to consumer, making it faster and more cost effective, especially from the manufacturer's point of view, and even from the reseller's point of view. Like in your case, you do not have to buy inventory, you don't have to store inventory, you don't even have to bother about shipping. Like I am the one who actually takes care of all your shipping issues. You don't even have to bother. I ensure it gets to the end user. Then it creates a reach, right? So as I mentioned earlier, there are multiple, if they want to target a specific segment, they need the reach in order to get there. Also, there are some expertise. So Randmar, in its history, we have grown around printers and printing supplies. It is a very specific, specialized knowledge. So the people who actually are into this industry knows how printers works. From my point of view, it's one of the worst piece of technology that we currently have, but that's because I have been in this industry for too long now. But it still requires an expertise, and in order for the manufacturer to target this market, this market, they actually need the people who have access to those end user and with the knowledge that those specific people have, and that's why they create a distribution channel for them to have access to the product so they can actually sell when they present a solution. Right, and which brings me to a value-added service, right? So in a building like this, you will have some network, you will have printers, computers, and there's going to be normally one individual or a company that will know all of it. So if, let's say, I want a specialized item, he needs to have access to it, but he still provide the added value to the customer and then buy it from the distributor. All right, the different distribution strategies. So online, especially in Canada, is relatively new. When I arrived in 2016, where I've seen the most growth for Randmar around printers was actually online, because all this industry was offline. And even before the 2000s, everything was was offline specifically. Most of the companies that you would buy, like the corner stores, they wouldn't even have a website. And ironically, even today, they still don't. But essentially, the online is really the exact same thing as the offline. So there are some commerce that will pay a premium to have a proper real estate, let's say on St. Catherine, simply because there's a lot of people going there, and then the manufacturers will want to have that reach to those people. But online, essentially, it's the same thing. You want to be seen, let's say, on Amazon, which is like a market of its own. You want your product to be seen. You have to pay for advertising for people to see it, right? But essentially, it's the same thing. You have to pay for the views indirectly, or to figure out a way to position yourself in order to gather attention. Then a distribution strategy that we have seen. So to give a little bit of context, printers and printing supplies is a declining market. I do not recommend going there. It is a declining market. But the manufacturers have implemented distribution strategies in order to keep their market shares that they have. One of them was through a qualification program. So if I take HP as an example, they actually said, right now, you, Randmar, the distributor, you can only sell to those qualified resellers. If a reseller is not part of that list, I am unable to sell the product or to drop ship it. It goes against my own contract. Another way that they used was through opportunities. So manufacturers, let's say if they wanted to target an office tower that will have, let's say, 100 printers, well, essentially the reseller who was bidding or handling the whole tower would receive multiple bid letters from all the manufacturers because Lexmark also wants to be in that tower, and then Xerox the same thing. So they will all discount the inventory to be part of that building. So they created opportunities. And really, we'll get into this, but that's where kind of the money is. Because now, as a reseller, since I found that opportunity or that niche, my cost just reduced drastically because that manufacturer wants to be there in that location. And the other one is market development funds. So manufacturers, they have a budget that they allocate for publicity, marketing, just advertising in general, for them to be known a little bit everywhere. It's already there. Those are already in place. And Randmar has already built the software that manufacturers are able to toggle and decide exactly how they want to structure their go-to-market. Now, a typical product margins. For most, obviously it varies from one manufacturer to another, but in general, there's about a 30%, let's say an item is being sold to the end user for $100. Normally, we try to have a 30% or $30 that will be reserved for the reseller, the one who has the last sell, the relationship with the end user. The distributor typically will take about 10% of that. The manufacturer will take 50% just to manage its people, but the cost of the product that is being produced is only 10% of that old value, right? So when they go into market development funds or opportunities, they are able to discount and to play with their margins to give more to, let's say, the reseller, for example. But what's important is that whenever you buy an item at $100, chances are the real cost of producing this good and to bring it in the Canadian territory is only 10% of this whole value. All right, so how can you leverage distribution, right? So what is very, 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 very important is to build relationships with them. Manufacturers still operate in a more old school ways, and relationship is what allow you to actually have access to proper margins and to even develop new opportunities. All right, it's really the relationships with the manufacturers. So essentially, the way to do this is you need to identify a market they actually don't properly control. If they don't properly control, it's an opportunity for you to say, you know what, that's going to be my niche, that's going to be my opportunity, and anyone who wants to get into this market, they now need to pass through you. That includes all manufacturers. Then, obviously, by generating sales or social tractions, we are seeing more and more the user-generated content. Right? We've all heard that word, UGC. Essentially, you go on Instagram, it's somebody that's going to showcase a product. Right? He's not really generating sales. He just has social traction, and because of that, manufacturers or brands or whomever will start working with them just for that social traction and visibility attention. In general, they go to you. It's rarely the opposite. Yes, you might be able to have a conversation with them, but that doesn't mean that it will actually allow you to have access to the opportunities. It's really for them to say, you know what, I want to target this market. Who is already there? I need to go directly to that individuals. And obviously to nurture a flow of communication and trust. Like, people are going to buy from you because they trust you. Trust is extremely important, but it's even more important with manufacturers because in general, if they don't want you to have access to their products, there are ways for them to ensure that. So trust and ensuring proper communications is key for building relationships with manufacturers. By the way, Randmar, we have a manufacturer portal. So all the manufacturers, we're working into having them go on the platform as often as possible. And the real added value is because they are able to see sales, the resellers promoting their inventory and so on. So one of the ways, not sure if I'm... So one of the ways that we've are allowing you guys to be known and seen by the manufacturers is through the manufacturer portal, because we report all our sales to the manufacturer. So whatever sales that you make, they will see. And yeah. Sounds good. And then they will play on their margins. mainly to straighten their brand or for market control, and all of this will happen through distribution. So it's not, yes, HP will say, okay, I'm going to give you a discount on that product for that specific opportunity, but you will still have to buy through distribution, and it's the distributor like us that will pass over the rebate, and then at the end of the month we claim it to the manufacturer. Essentially, that's how it works. But for all of them, it's all through distribution. And once you provide them value, they will create opportunities for you. But very important, you need to be seen first. But once you've seen them and you start building a relationship with them, they just become suddenly extremely open to working with you. All right? So I talk a little bit on Randmar. So we, essentially, Randmar founded in 1936 by, well, our grandfather. You have my sister that is there also, one of them, two sisters. Essentially, R is for Rosario, and then you have Armand, which is mixed letters. It started around typewriters, then move around printers and printing supplies. This is really where my dad has grown and grown substantially there. And after that, once I arrived in 2016, that's when manufacturers started implementing the qualification program. So I started building a software that allows manufacturers to build and structure their distribution strategy through Randmar. And now, because of that software, we're able to attract new manufacturers. Actually, we stopped the onboarding of manufacturers because the next step was to actually start working with resellers because we had like too much of them now. So I want to just talk a little bit about me real fast. So in the past couple of years, I've done a lot of conferences. So in all those conferences, there was always one thing that stood out constantly, and it was you need to service others all the time. Regardless if it was a marketing conference, a business conference, a personal growth conference, it was always you need to service others. It's extremely important because that's how your actually life is giving back to you afterwards. And there was that one quote that I just really, really love that is very well aligned with servicing others, and it's make other people rich. So then it made me thought, I'm like, okay, well, how do you do that, right? By creating opportunities. And that's when I started working with trying to figure out, okay, how to properly do that. And that's where the idea of like an academy came along. But before I get into this, I want to talk, is anybody knows who this guy is? No idea? Eddie Malouf. He has one of the biggest digital marketing agency in the US. And he has created a community that I'm part of, and I'm actually leveraging a lot of the knowledge that they have and the infrastructure that they have to then build everything that is being provided to you. So for example, the Shopify product writing that you have seen, that was an idea that came from one of his events. I was seeing what are the problems that agencies are actually companies that help brands and manufacturers generate content and grow in the digital realm. How can I actually service those people? And it was, they all have content problem. They don't have the right description, right information. I'm like, well, I do. So I was like, okay, let's start building exactly what you want. And that's where pretty much everything else that I was building started to flourish, really from ideas of the people that I am using as mentors. So then we started building something that we call the Founders Club. So why did we create this? Everything that I just showed you, I try to work with all my resellers that we currently have, that are part of the generation of my father. Those individuals, unfortunately, think more about their retirement than actually growing their business. When I was saying, hey, you should have a Shopify store or you should at least have a website, most of them were completely just not wanted to go in that direction. And I've tried that with a lot of different resellers, whether they were small, big, all of them. They were just too busy and too controlling what they wanted to control, and they didn't want to allocate time, energy, and effort into actually what I think is the future, like e-commerce and AI, right? So that's the reason why we created the Founders Club. So essentially, last time we actually did a webinar where I presented that, and here in the front we have some community members that I invite you to talk about as well. And we are essentially working with them into building their own store right now, and we are at the step where we are finalizing their actual store for the next step to start doing advertising, and more importantly, working with manufacturers into providing proper market development funds. So as I mentioned earlier, manufacturers are willing to give exclusive rebates, exclusive opportunities to resellers, but there is a way of doing that, and we teach all this into the Founders Club, right? So essentially into it, essentially what's included is all the rebates that we already have started working on. They are not yet available on purpose. All this section here is a co-working space. We have a couple of people, including Hernan, every single day. He is here working on his store, leveraging, first of all, the warehouse, and myself, that I go once a day, see him, what he's working on, what he's doing, and it's allowing him to just have better ideas on what to implement next. And it's the same thing for the others as well. We are doing 2 physical exclusive events per month. So for example, this one, an exclusive event, the Founders Club, like it is part of what we're doing. And all the presentations that you are about to see, it's mostly for them because they are now at a point where they need to understand certain things in order to move forward. The step that you have taken today in generating your Shopify store, that is just the first step, but that's not gonna make you rich. It's actually everything afterwards that we are building and that we are creating. We've also started to include tutoring classes on how to do all those different things, right? And obviously the Shopify product writing that you have seen, the $10 for everybody that is part of the community, that thing is being provided for, and there's a reason for it. So, by the way, the next event, it's going to be important. It's going to happen on June 23rd, where it's going to be a mix of what Philip will be presenting and what Emil will be presenting. And yeah, it's how to find actually the gold products and to properly advertise it. It's going to be pretty amazing. I also want to add the core values of the community that is a daily thing. Our collaboration, consistency, and creativity. And I want to insist on consistency, right? Because today you have took the step to be here physically and to start building your Shopify store. But anyone who passed just 1 hour per week on their Shopify store consistently throughout a long enough period of time will always outperform anyone that will spend one day out of the year on its Shopify store. By far, consistency is what will allow anybody to succeed in absolutely any endeavor that you start. All right, so that is very, very important. And specifically, you will be working with manufacturers. One of the things that I presented is to ensure proper communication flow with those manufacturers. The only way to ensure that is by being consistent and by being able to just to nurture the relationship, right? Oh, I realized I didn't put the price. So if you guys are interested, we'll put that later on as well. How we work is the package essentially costs $1,000 per month, right? So $1,000 a month can actually be seen as expensive, but the reality is you have paid $250 just to be here. There are 2 events like that every single month. And on top of that, we provide you with manufacturer rebates that will allow you to reimburse that. But in order to get there, there is a consistent aspect that you need to ensure. So we are building a community. We have a handful of people. Spots, I have a certain number. Once we reach this number, we close down the onboarding and we really start working with manufacturers. Manufacturers, one of the things that they like to see is what we call in the industry buying groups, right? So it's a buying power. When Canon, for example, deal with Staples, Staples can actually leverage their infrastructure and their buying powers because they have so many stores. So in order for us to properly leverage opportunities, we need to have a buying group, a buying opportunity. And with all the manufacturers that we have, opportunities, that is not what is missing. What is missing is people willing to leverage the opportunity and to be consistent into it. It requires a way of thinking and working. Consistency will bring you everywhere that you want in life. So I just wanted to put that out there before I let the other presenters speak. Is there any questions or comments on working with manufacturers, on Randmar, myself, or the opportunity? Yes?
So, can we still work without being part of this founder, let's say?
Yes. So you now all have a Randmar account. You all have a Shopify store. You can leverage the infrastructure. You can, the infrastructure, I mean us shipping inventory to wherever that you want. This is already there, already available to you. So yes, you can.
And is it recommended to like already have some results before, let's say, join?
No, not at all. It's actually the opposite. You should come here to actually, how do I bring results? What are the things that I do? You have access to the knowledge. All the speakers that you will see, they are also part of the community. So we're trying to build something where it's a collaborative environment. We had on Friday, yesterday, we spent like maybe an hour, 2 hours just talking about AI and different possibilities, right? So you may not need to know about AI to be part of this conversation, but it allows you to think differently because you are the average of the 5 individuals you hang out the most with. So we're trying to elevate that as much as possible. I think, yeah.
So let's, last question. Let's say like we are consistent. Like,
Yes.
Okay. But we don't know anything about that kind of business. But we take this subscription with the founder.
Yes.
Are we guaranteed to have any result?
Well, the answer to this, if you are consistent, truly, we do have a path that will guarantee you sales. Yes. Like it is not rocket science. Like e-commerce is actually a mathematical equation, right? If you do that properly, that's like you are able to build a predictability around e-commerce. I cannot guarantee it like in 30 days though. Right, and again, like we have some of the members that are not consistent right now. Their store is not moving forward. We have others that are like, first, we have some that already generated some sales, and we have some that are about to start actually promoting their website. So like, yes, it's moving forward, but consistency is really, it's key. Absolutely. Yes.
Just to be clear, why are you showing us how to deal with the manufacturer if it's Randmar that is dealing with them?
Andrew will present you that no, it is not the case. The only thing that we sell is product availability and the infrastructure. Then it's you that actually need to work with the manufacturer to create your own opportunities. But they will all go through distribution, those opportunities. So, but yes, you are the one that will be working with the manufacturer directly. and we are just the bridge. We will, at the beginning, we have the relationship, right? So we will do some introduction. We will see what you want to promote as well. And the first step is we will create those opportunities for you because we want to ensure to facilitate that, right? But ultimately, you understand how they think, you understand how they work, and you're able to do all this by yourself.
And what about the integrations that we have in our Shopify store?
That doesn't change. So what I'm talking is just you will pick up the phone and say, hey, David, I want to target this market right now. But the price that I'm getting, it's actually not the right one. I would need a 10% off from, let's say, for the F1 weekend or whatever for that opportunity. So it's going to be date dependent as well. So from that date to that date. Does that work for you? It's a little bit too much. Let's change that to something more reasonable. And then you say, yes, perfect. He goes in the manufacturer portal, set that exclusively for you. And then you are the only one who is able to leverage the opportunity for that period of time.
So the prices we see in the dashboard in Randmar are the prices that you guys get? Or?
The price that you will see, it's your pricing. But if you have an opportunity, then your pricing is going to decrease.
Exclusively for me?
Correct. Yes. But those are all things that like it requires a certain way of thinking. It's very, very important.
So I'm sorry, that just want to be clear. So if I understand properly, it's the cost of the product plus your margin.
Yes.
And so it's not, so if you're going to see your manufacturer and say, I want a 10% discount, you're going to see a 10% discount on your product cost plus Randmar margin. Plus the $10.
But they don't work on percentage really. It's you will figure out a dollar value, and that's the dollar value that will be removed off your price. Because yes, distribution, like as I presented, it takes about 10% of the full price, right? Other questions? Yes, sir.
If I want, I can start selling tomorrow if I want.
Start? Yes. Whatever you did today, you already have your pricing. You have the integration with Shopify. You have the Randmar reseller account. You can already make some sales.
Without contacting the master.
Correct, yes. So you will see in general, markets is kind of segment is already pretty structured thanks to Amazon. So the real way to actually leverage the opportunities is through relationships with manufacturers. That is very, very key in order to be successful in an e-commerce model with manufacturers.
What about Google Merchant Center?
Yes.
Got to block you if they say the brand name?
Yeah, but with Randmar, like we bypass all this. We provide letters that are approved everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's not a problem. Yeah, so I'll have to keep moving. But thank you very much. And now Andrew, who actually, well, I'll let him talk about his story.